So now that the flames of anger and rage have been quelled a bit since my last video on vegan gains, I'm going to go over this once again because his story still does not make any sense to me at all. So let me get this straight. You and your granddad, just you and him, are hanging out at a park, flying some RC drones because you have a hobby and he has a hobby in those, and it's on a pretty hot summer day. And your grandfather is 82 years old. To get to where you want to get in this park to do your little drone flying, you have to go over a series of hills and a couple of ravines. These are your words. And it was just you and him there. And at some point during that, your grandfather displayed physical signs of exhaustion, breathing heavily, saying he wasn't feeling all that great. And instead of asking him if he needed any assistance, you needed to call somebody or just straight up take him home, you started talking about a veganic lifestyle and a veganic diet and just continued onward. After you were done at the park, he drives home, you go to your room, because apparently he, according to you, lives with you at the time. Minutes after this, he has a heart attack, and you call 911, and as the paramedics arrive, you film him basically having a heart attack and dying. And this was to make a point about living a veganic lifestyle and having a healthy diet. As his funeral services are rendered, you admit you expressed no intention of going and felt dragged to the services, and immediately after the services, you film a video saying that because you felt he abused you as a child, you're happy that he's dead. And that you had no concern with your family's upset that you wanted to put the video of him dying on the internet to make a point about veganism. After this, you obviously got a lot of criticism from myself and other people. One of those people being Mr. Repsion. And you responded to his criticism with a threat of violence and a death threat, saying you were going to slit his throat with a knife, kind of like one of these. I use this for stripping wires and such, for electrical stuff, because he did a video on you. All of that said, at what point am I not supposed to feel that you had something directly to do with your grandfather's death? The story was recanted from you. This was a situation where it was only you and him hanging out. There weren't any other witnesses to this, aside from the people in your home when he had a heart attack. You're the only one that can back anything that might absolve you from purposely overexerting your grandfather. So, I mean, who did you think really was going to buy your story? Because this is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like you had such a problem with your grandfather for things that had been done to you as a child that you felt that at 82 years of age, if you pushed him to his physical limit, health-wise, him having a heart attack would look like natural causes. But that, for a person like you, and I completely believe you are a sociopath, isn't good enough. You needed the vindication, you needed the validation in what you had done, so you had to film it. You had to document what you had done. And you wanted to get away with it by saying that it was to make a point about a veganic lifestyle. There's no way you didn't know something was going on with your granddad when he was struggling to keep up with you, to keep following you in this park. You didn't care about his health. You just keep rubbing it in his face, according to you, that it's his lifestyle doing this to him. As if anybody is going to believe that's a sensible thing to say to someone who obviously needs to sit down and take a break at 82 years of age. You didn't want to go to his funeral because you didn't want family to say more or less the same things that I'm saying here. Yet after his funeral, you express you're happy he's dead. And you can't understand why his widow, depending on what side of the family, his children, would have a problem with you expressing what you expressed. I think you did this purposely. I think that you threatened Mr. Repzion because his video got a lot more attention than anybody else's, and you couldn't control the level of attention that it got. I don't think you worry too much about videos like mine because they only bring in 5,000 or 6,000 views, tops, most of the time. Whereas Repzion's videos bring in 50,000, 60,000, 150,000, 250,000. And that level of attention is not anything you can control. Sociopaths have an inherent need to control how they're received by other people. They like to control the public's narrative of themselves because they don't like when people find out what they are. Let's say it makes life difficult for them. So you threaten to kill him as a method of intimidating him to take his video down and retract his statement because you don't know what else to do. Because I think you know that you're fucked. You're fucked in the head. Completely fucked in the head. But as for everything else, you're fucked. People know what you are. And I think they're starting to catch on to what you may have done. Because as I've stated a few times already, it was just you and him. And it's your story that we're going by. Also, at the end of the day, am I really supposed to be scared of somebody who's such a pussy they can't eat a burger or have a steak? I mean, really? I'm supposed to be intimidated by somebody, and so is Daniel, a guy who puts up a little tiny knife like this. Do you have any idea how stupid you look and sound when you say that? Do you have any idea how long it would take you to kill somebody with something like that? And do you have any idea what it makes you look like when you threaten somebody in response to something they said in such a way? You're fucked. You're totally fucked.